Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Sales Vitamin Podcast. This is episode number 11. I've got a special treat for you today. We are going to be speaking with the COO of ACS Facility Services out of Hornell, New York. Her name is Jennifer Bulkley. Jennifer, welcome to the Sales Vitamin Podcast. It's great to have you.
And I am super excited to be here. Thank you.
Tell the listeners before we get started, kind of give a little background of what you do and what your organization does there, and just a quick history.
Okay. So we started out in 2008 during the quote unquote recession. My business partner and I were both in sales and car sales working at the same dealership.
Okay.
And we just basically got the itch to venture out on our own and make sales to, put all the profit in our pockets. Sort of that dream. And so we launched off as a residential service for cleaning.
Okay.
Maid service, developed into carpet cleaning, upholstery cleaning, window cleaning, blah, blah, all thanks to all people. And then we ended up organically getting commercial clients. So now we're in this B2B space, and decided about 6 years ago to completely pivot and shut down all residential and just go completely commercial into facility services. So, I'm co-founder of the company and operate the company, and primarily, I would say 60 to 80% of my time is devoted to growth.
Okay.
Sales. So that's where I spend a lot of my energy and where I have my passion. And, you can't have a business without sales. So that's just always been a part of the journey all the way along.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's why you're on today, the Sales Vitamin Podcast. I know that one of the things I've seen, and that's pretty cool, is I look at you do a couple of videos, or you have messages during the week on LinkedIn, and that's how I actually saw you and saw what you were about. When did that start, and how has that impacted your sales approach?
So it basically started about a year ago, roughly this month, as far as me being more active on LinkedIn. I'd always been a member for quite some years, but I was never really a social media person, just because I'm sort of a very actionable person, and I just already sort of viewed it as like wasting your time, or like people who play video games or whatever. I never really understood and didn't really get into it.
Right.
And then I started engaging a little bit more, checking it out. Everybody's kind of turned into this whole social media platform to market themselves and network virtually. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be kind of a networking thing. Well, I just got looped in with a couple of really good quality connections, and started seeing just, LinkedIn specifically is like a giant research center at your fingertips, and just education after value piece after value piece. So I just became really engaged and liked commenting and liked the interaction. And really, long story short, is I was getting so much value from the platform that I was just so compelled to start adding value back in, to say, geez, I really need to give back to this community as much as I can. And then just totally off the cuff started doing whatever kind of content I could come up with that I think people would be interested in, that would add value to people, they would learn or be encouraged or inspired.
Yeah, I think what I noticed about you was when you talk about the value, I did not know what you did. I mean, if I watched a lot of your videos, I really wouldn't know what you did as a profession. I think that's when you're good at it. And I said, she's really good at it. So is that kind of how you structure your approach?
Yes. So it has nothing to do with promoting my company. I mean, occasionally I'll put in, some clean for health type things that are super important that people should be aware of. But overall, it's just about, how can I give back to this community? It's philanthropy, really. It's not really promote my business. I want people to know who I am. And if at the end of the day, they go, gee, I really like this person. And oh, look, by the way, she does facility services. Well, I know so-and-so, or I am so-and-so, and might be able to use that service. That's a great little icing on the cake, but it's not really my purpose.
Yeah. And how has that affected have you seen results from it, from having that activity on LinkedIn?
I have gotten some organic, regular, natural leads.
Right.
And then I want to say, when was it? December of 2019. I did hire a vendor called SalesKey. And so they did in-mails, cold outreach through the platform. And I got some really good, actually, clients now as a result of that.
Okay.
but I didn't like it. So I did quit because it's kind of a personal thing. I just don't really like that weird cold outreach, even though it's a networking platform.
Yeah.
So
No, that makes
I
sense.
quit it and I just reverted back to being me. I don't like having to respond to in-mails that, I didn't really push send, or an automated system did. And I know that that's got its time and place in any business, but it just felt uncomfortable for me here, there on LinkedIn.
So if I said, "Hey, Jennifer, what is your sales approach with your and is it twofold? You've got an approach that you use with the company, and then kind of on your personal side, or is that who you are? What's your sales approach there?"
So the sales approach here, I mean, we're really about client attraction. So a lot of our stuff, we're trying to get inbound leads. Now, obviously, you have to be out there on social media. You have to do your hit list mailers, your 3D mail, your newsletters, your letters. So you are marketing out there, but the materials that we use, we're attracting people to call into us. So we don't always do a lot of cold calling as much anymore. We used to
Right.
back in the day, do a lot of it. That's
Yeah.
all I did. I didn't know anything else. You get
Yeah.
these big books that has all the businesses you want to go after, and you start going down the line with your legal pad,
Yeah.
and your CRM is a legal pad.
Yeah,
I
that's
still
right.
do that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I,
so, but everything's about client attraction to, what our culture is and what our core values are. So we're trying to get clients that align with that and are kind of a good fit right off the bat. So that sort of breaks down a lot of the weird commodity-based stuff, type of thinking.
yeah, and you and I talked a little bit earlier about you're very personable in your approach.
Yeah,
That's how you approach it. Talk about that a little bit
yeah,
and how you approach the sales process.
sure. So I think it honestly does stem back from my early days in car sales, because when I walked in to that dealership, I thought I was applying for like a parts counter job. I was in my early 20s, and all of a sudden, partway through the interview, I realized I'm interviewing for a sales position, like on the lot, selling trucks and cars.
Yeah.
So I just rolled with the interview, and got hired. So here I am, all of a sudden, brand new, had no experience whatsoever, and thrown out there. So I relied on just my natural way with people, which is to break the ice. It's to make the other person feel as comfortable as possible. It's not about me right
Right.
away. It's about them at ease, so they can open up and tell me what it is that they're looking for. And so that I can, match up all the tools in the toolkit with whatever they're saying, make that connection, and then present to them what's going to be the best fit for them.
Yeah.
Because most people don't really totally know. They just have an idea. So you have to bring all that out of them. And the best way is just be super, super authentic, totally yourself, and just make sure that they're being put at ease.
Yeah. Now, so selling cars versus what you're doing now as the COO, did you bring a lot of what you did selling cars with you? I mean, was that training ground just that valuable?
It absolutely was totally valuable, because being brand new, I immediately went to product knowledge. So I knew everything there was to know about GM products, and even a lot of the other products, and competitive comparison and all that. So in this business, you have to have a real technical knowledge of facility services, of cleaning for health, of infection control. There's so much science to it, even though it's not rocket science, there's a science to all of it.
Right.
So my approach has always been, know as much as you possibly can about your service, about your products, so that when your customer has 3-4 different things that they are interested in, you just pull from that toolkit, educate them, match it up with them, and they're like, oh my gosh, you read my mind.
Yeah.
So that, I could, back in the day of, selling cars, it's like you can have somebody walk on the lot, they have no idea really what they want. So you just do a little investigation, you find out, okay, they have kids, they're interested in safety, or they're a farmer, they need a diesel, and you can just pull all that knowledge out, shoot out a couple of things that are going to hit home to them and they didn't even realize.
Yeah. And car sales is kind of, uh, the way I look at it, and you know better than I do, but now the consumer is so educated. So by the time they get to the car lot, boy, they know a lot. And I think from a commercial standpoint, from what I see in my industry, and I know you see it in your industry, the buyers today on the B2B side, they're very educated. So you really have to be able to differentiate
Yeah.
yourself or the way you sell. What are some ways you do that there at your facility services?
Okay, so a lot of what our differentiators primarily are is our communication skills. So our ability to be super proactive and intuitive with our clients. So all of our automated systems that we have are about extracting information on the front end before anything could go south, in real-time communication, which is great because of technology. So we have an app, and our clients are on the app and they can chat
Yeah.
with us. And so having that proactive approach with communication, so there is no room for them to go, well, I tried to call. No, we called you already.
Right. Right.
So communication is a huge thing. The other thing is trust, because our culture here at our company is we're very culture rich on our core values and our mission. So with that, all systems are based on the framework of our core values and our mission statement. So every decision is made, every system that's implemented is so based around that the people that we attract for employees, when they're coming on board, they're already like-minded individuals to us, to our clients. We're sort of like this family. And so it builds a trust with our clients right off the bat, dependability or reliability, it kind of like just, nobody has to really worry. Even if something goes wrong, it's going to get fixed really quick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, communication, trust, and just the experience. Like, we have a big platform for giving back to our community. So that's been a good attractant, a good differentiator. You can have another client or another competitor who doesn't have that same edge, or at least they don't get their clients involved in the same way we do.
Okay.
So you might just say, oh, Mr. and Mrs. Client, this is what we have as a charity, or this is what we have as a once a year event. Whereas we have a strategy that we leverage our clients' property and resources to join in our cause, which is cleaning up hunger. So then they're bought in, they really buy into it, and then they love it. So there's a lot of like buy-in to the whole experience, and that promotes that longevity and referrals, which is great,
Yeah.
and repeat business.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, with your sales team there, how big it is or how small it is, whatever the size it is, what is your training approach there? What are some things that are lacking that you see when you bring salespeople in there? What do you really have to train them on that you see lacking?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, well, first of all, we try not to actually hire somebody unless they match up to, our kind of pre-hire filter process that we have. So
Right.
they already have to have some alignment with our basic core values.
Okay.
And once we see that there's that general mindset fit and they sort of buy in, and that, they want to be a part of the team pretty badly, regardless of salary and stuff like that. We just bring them through, and they're not pretty much really any different than any other employee in the company. So they're going to go through their orientation. They're going to go through, the whole process. I think the biggest thing is they don't understand the depth of the industry. They don't understand as much of the technical information. It's still like a little bit of a transaction mindset versus, okay, these are long-term contract relationships you're building. So you have
Right.
to go really deep, and you're starting from the front and you're going all the way through to the end and then some.
Right.
It does get past the operations, but we still want our salespeople to feel free to go out on their own and go stop by and bring donuts or visit their client or send a separate card, and
Yeah.
things like that.
What's
Even though the internal systems are handled once the baton is passed.
Yeah. What's the sales cycle typically on your sale? I know in my industry they're long. We
Yeah.
typically it's a year. It can be 6 months or
Yep.
18 months. Are yours
Yeah.
that long?
It can be as close as 2 weeks to probably 60 or 90 days.
Okay. Because they may
Um,
be with a competitor and you're coming in to a
it just
situation
depends
like
on
that.
where a lot of it depends on where they are in their buying process. So you got some companies that are just really getting super prepared, and they're like really crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's, and they're just really, getting in ahead of the game and doing kind of the research and bringing you in. And other times they wait until the last minute, until there's a problem and a disaster, and then it's like, come bail me out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
those are faster ones, which are great because it's just like necessity, and you're like, wow, this is easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the ones that are really doing their due diligence, those are the ones you really have to be on top of your game for, and be patient and stay with them, stay with them through the process to
Yeah.
the bitter end.
Who have been your biggest influencers from a sales standpoint that you really follow and look to, and maybe some of the books that you've read that you really think, if I was going to talk to someone right now considering getting into sales, this is some of the stuff I would tell them to read, and this is some
Right.
advice I would give them.
Sure. For me personally, in the very beginning was Dick Aulick, who was a 50-year veteran in my industry. So initially, it was his book on contract cleaning sales 101. This guy was this old school salesman, and he really paved the way for the initial framework. But aside from that very initial sort of mentor hero, in my mind, I would say Levine, Selling from the Heart. You have, my salespeople, they have to listen to his podcast occasionally, read the book. And then Alex Goldfein, who has the Selling Boldly book. His book influenced me so much that it's in my sales process.
Okay.
The tools that he has in that book. So he would be another one. And then this person doesn't have a book, but they have a podcast that I really love listening to, and that's The Brutal Truth About Sales and Selling, Brian Byrne.
Yep.
So
He's good. I like his stuff.
My total hero, the guest, I mean, it's unbelievable. And then Lee Salz,
Yeah.
sure. I'm reading his book, right? He's amazing. The other thing too is, like, I get a lot from some of the marketing gurus out there, because I think the marketing and the sales departments now are so hand in hand.
Right.
That, like David Breyer, he's one of my favorite ones. To listen to help the overall process, for sure. But yeah, those are probably my top favorites. And then I did do a lot of Gitomer material for a while, Jeffrey Gitomer.
Yep.
I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit with that, just because our styles are so different. The principles are great, but he's just not really my style. Like Larry Levine's like my style.
Yeah.
Where it's more of that soft sales skills, I think.
Yeah. Now you mentioned you've included that one book that you read. You even included it in your sales process.
Yeah,
What is your take a listener through, hey, here's my sales process. What is that? You
mean from the salesperson?
Yeah.
Point of view or client perspective? Salesperson's point of view?
Yeah, from the salesperson's point of view.
Okay, so for us, you have your daily metrics, or your daily activities, I should say, have to consist of time blocking for your cold outreach, follow up, all of that jazz. And what I like about the Selling Boldly is he came up with a weekly planner and a monthly planner. And it's a bit of a matrix, but it pulls together every component you can think of. So upselling, referral requests, asking for your referral, that's built in there, that you are basically forced to do that. You are forced to contact clients, conduct a certain amount of survey. So, and this is outside of operations. So this is just on the sales side. So the salesperson gets reinforced with positive psychology. So it's all about positive psychology, because if you can keep your salespeople amped up, that, because you get no's, but you need to hear back and get those yeses, and you need to hear from your super, client cheerleaders. So when you hear from your client cheerleaders on a regular basis, it gives you more drive to keep going forward, because we're not selling, we're helping. right? So you're out there to make a difference and make an impact. So there's those activities that are laid out pretty strategically. And then of course your time that's set aside for door knocking, well, that's kind of taken a little bit of a back seat from COVID. So
Right.
we took a different approach during this shutdown period, which we're going to keep now forever.
Yeah.
So it caused us to pivot in like a good way.
Yeah. How did
You know?
what did you do to pivot? What did you pivot to? I mean, how have you changed your approach from that standpoint?
So what we did was we decided to do daily videos
Oh,
through the email. So a client every single day gets a different type of video from us. Usually it's me, and then there's like 2 other people that will do them. And we took us a little bit of time. So at first it was just like random. Okay, I got this cool information. I want to share it with you. You know, now we have categories on certain days. So what that content's going to be, lots of value add pieces that they get. And we're doing that to clients, employees, and prospects.
cool.
So because in our mission statement, to provide the most sensational client experience ever, we say client, we mean everybody involved. So whether you're an employee, whether you're a customer, whether you're a vendor, you're all going to be treated the same way. So if I'm going to give value to my prospect or my client, I'm going to do the same thing for my employee. And so that's a good kind of well-rounded approach. And it helps to streamline and systematize everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that's pretty. A lot of people I talk to are doing the video email, whatever service you use, Vidyard,
Yep.
Loom, or whoever you use. But I think that is a powerful pivot. I think that's pretty cool that you're doing that.
Yeah. Yep. Because people kind of then realize they sort of know who you are by the time they actually talk to you. If we're talking about like a prospect, oh my gosh, yeah, I've been getting them, and we do some jokes in there too. So a lot of them have actually said, I really love the jokes
Yeah.
more than like anything else. And you're like, okay, whatever works to break the ice, you
Yeah.
know, whatever works to get your foot in the door. You know, you just got to think outside the box and just keep trying stuff. But I think it's really great because people are hard to get a hold of anyways, and they're so busy. You know, some days I would just rather get the email than the phone call. And if it's a cool, catchy email and I start seeing them long enough, you know, we all get marketed to. I'll respond back eventually if it's something that's good enough. Or the great thing is just a rainy day. So you're staying front of mind regardless. And in this industry, there's always a rainy day, just like this COVID thing. We got flooded. Now suddenly everybody cares about cleaning, you know, which is, you know, good and bad. We don't want this to happen, but at the same time, it just proves that it's a real problem.
Right.
That needs to be solved, and people have to take it serious.
Yeah. So that's a cool way that you've integrated, because one of the questions I had for you was how have you integrated technology into your sales approach? So have you done anything else from a technology standpoint besides the video email to enhance your sales?
I really wouldn't say technology so much. The videos, and then obviously having quick access to things like an ebook or a PDF version of something, because it's so easy to attach those documents now. It's so easy to make something, you know, available.
Yeah.
And then really just still the old fashioned stuff that kind of costs a little bit of money, which is the 3D mailers and, you know, the typical hit list kind of stuff, and the send out cards and the newsletters. And, you know, there's still a lot of value in that stuff.
What advice would you give to, let's say that there's a younger sales professional out there, or even there's a tenured sales professional out there that's kind of leery of getting on LinkedIn or any type of social media and kind of doing what you've done to personally brand yourself? What kind of advice would you give to someone? Because they may be sitting where you were 18 months ago.
Yes, I would say to just start small maybe, and just be completely 100% yourself. Don't try to come across as something that you're not. And yeah, you might be kind of dorky and embarrassed in the beginning, or not quite know if your posts are good enough, but eventually you'll gain traction and you'll start getting better at what you do. And if it's something that you decide that you actually like doing, well, you know, that's like, for me, I was a little shy and timid at first because I'm like, oh, you know, people are judging you, you know, or they're going to think you're just weird. But
Yeah.
that kind of was the opposite of that. It was sort of like, oh, that was a great message, encouragement to the point where, it's sort of, I don't want to say it's an addiction, but it's definitely become like a little bit of a creative outlet. It's like I've had stressed out days and I'm like, I'm going to go post a video. I got to blow off steam.
Yeah.
It kind of works. It's like, I just feel better.
Yeah. Now, and you've got a really good following. I mean, I've read comments of the people when you send those videos out, and so you've developed over that year. You've developed I guess tribe's not a good word, but a people that you really are relate to.
Yeah, I think that once you get enough of like-minded people together, then really things happen bigger and better, because it's sort of like connecting in your own little world. You're connecting with people that have similar values, beliefs, and you just support each other. So the more support, the more encouragement, the more you grow and the more you want to grow.
Yeah.
So for me personally, my goal is to try and impact as many people positively, but I am looking to grow my network. I am looking to gain followers. I do want a bigger base, because I'm working on my own project that eventually I'll launch, and then hopefully out of that network, I'll get people in.
Yeah. How do you work on your own sales development? How do you work on making you continue to be really good at that craft? I know you do, you talked about the books you read with Larry Levine and Sauls but is there anything else that you would tell the listeners, hey, you need to be doing this if you want to get better at sales?
I would say getting out there as much as possible, still meeting with your clients, doing as many sales yourself. I do a lot of them because I really like it and enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, podcast has been such a huge resource for me. Like Sales Vitamin is a great example. Here's another podcast that I can listen to.
Yeah.
Because it's those little insights or something that, somebody suggests and you go, I never looked at it from that angle or that perspective. I'm going to try that. Then you just go out and try it. You might be a little bit nervous. You might even be, I'm someone who will practice in the rear view mirror of my car before walking in if there's something kind of new I sort of want to try out.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I may steal that one.
Yeah, you flip down your visor, you look at yourself, and you just sort of like rehearse a little bit, Now, does everything always go planned? Of course not in sales. You can have your checklist in front of you that you want to go down and hit those bullet points, but it never goes exactly the way you have it planned in your mind. But if you have, again, enough of those tools sitting there that you've sort of practiced or rehearsed, it's quickly and easy to just pull out whatever you need, read the room, and go from there. Yeah, I think podcasts are just so easy. Reading books, it's just the easiest thing, and then just going out and actually trying it and doing it.
Yeah, one of the return when you look at it, books and podcasts, your return on those is so exponential.
Unreal.
It's amazing. All right, I've got one more question for you before we're done here. But before we go to that question, tell everybody where they can get a hold of you, where they can get a hold of your company, your organization, and basically how do they need to connect with you there? What's the best way to connect with you?
I mean, I would say the best way to connect with me personally is to send me a LinkedIn request if you're on that platform. Okay. I really don't do any other social media too much. I'm thinking about getting on Twitter, but I don't know because it does take a lot of your time. And it's like having a part-time job if you're on a platform. So LinkedIn, and then acsfacilityservices.com is our website, which you can just click through and do a contact us form. Yeah, really those two ways, website and LinkedIn. Boom.
Okay. And the website's pretty cool. I've checked out the website. I know one of the videos I saw was cool. It's you kind of going through your values and your mission statement it's a YouTube video. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, those, I might have to refresh those. They're, the content will be the same, but I could probably deliver a little bit better. Those are a little older now, but people get the point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it's always a work in progress. I mean, we're getting ready to refresh some stuff on our website yet again, and it's constant, constant maintenance on all that stuff to keep it going.
Yeah. So last question for you, and I ask everybody this that's on, if you had your sales team in front of you and you've only got one sales vitamin to give them for this next quarter, what's that one sales vitamin or piece of advice you give them?
Yeah, so it really is to open up your mind, continue to grow and educate yourself in the industry. So you have to really have that vulnerable side where you don't know everything. So you need to be super open, be coachable, be open to the possibilities that there's still so much to learn. And that's the fun part anyways, isn't it? Learn,
Yeah.
Accomplish, learn some more, accomplish. Holy cow. So yeah, that's the biggest thing. I would never want somebody to think that they just kind of know it all and they're sort of arrogant. Oh, I'll go knock them dead. Well, all right. I like a certain amount of confidence, but you don't know everything.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great advice. That's
Yep.
that's more than one vitamin. That's several.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Jennifer Bulkley. She's the CEO at ACS Facility Services. Make sure that you follow her on LinkedIn. Her information and her content is excellent. It's motivational. It's learning, and it's not necessarily about what she does at ACS Facility Services, but it is in an indirect way, and you're going to learn a lot of personal stuff, and you're going to learn how to sell, and you're going to learn how to create content on LinkedIn that really resonates with people. So I think that's one of the things I've learned from her. So I think that you'll be doing yourself a great favor. Get over to LinkedIn and follow her. Jennifer, I appreciate you joining us today. It's been awesome. I think everybody's going to really enjoy this episode, and when it comes out, when we release it. So thank you for joining us today and spending some time with us.
Yes, you're welcome. It was my honor.
Well,
Love
thank
it.
you.